Tell me about a time you helped a teammate. Introduction. This is a common behavioral interview question for software developers, backend developers, full-stack developers, senior developers, and team leads. Interviewers ask this question to understand. Click how you support others. Click how you collaborate with teammates, how you share knowledge, how you help without taking over, how you communicate technical ideas clearly, how you contribute to team success, how you build trust within a team. This question is especially important for check. Java developers, backend developers, Spring Boot developers, full-stack developers, junior software developers, senior software developers, team leads, agile teams. The best way to answer this question is by using the STAR method. STAR means S. Situation. Explain the background. T. Task. Explain your responsibility. A. Action. Explain what you personally did. R. Result. Explain the final outcome. A good interview answer usually spends 10% situation, 10% task, 60% action, 20% result. The most important part is the action section, because interviewers want to understand how you helped the teammate and how your support improved the team outcome. Question. Tell me about a time you helped a teammate. Example 1. Helping a teammate debug a production issue situation. In one project, a teammate was investigating a production issue where an API was failing intermittently. The issue was difficult because it did not happen for every request, and the teammate was under pressure to identify the root cause quickly. Task. I wanted to help the teammate investigate the issue without taking over the entire task. My goal was to support them, share ideas, and help find the root cause faster. Action. I first asked the teammate to walk me through what they had already checked. Then we reviewed the issue together. We looked at second, application logs, API request payloads, error messages, database records, recent deployments, failed and successful request patterns. I suggested comparing failed requests with successful requests to find a pattern. After comparison, we noticed that the failed requests had one optional field missing. The teammate reproduced the issue locally using a similar payload. Then we reviewed the validation logic together and found that the code did not handle the missing optional field safely. I helped them add a focused fix and test cases for optional field present, optional field missing, existing valid request, invalid request. I also encouraged them to document the root cause and share the learning with the team. Result. The production issue was fixed quickly. The teammate gained more confidence in debugging similar issues. The new regression tests helped prevent the same issue from happening again. Why this answer works. This answer is strong because it shows check. Teamwork under pressure, debugging support, asking before taking over, root cause analysis, knowledge sharing, regression prevention. Example 2. Helping a junior developer understand Spring Boot API structure situation. In one sprint, a junior developer was assigned to implement a new Spring Boot REST API. They understood the business requirement, but were unsure how to structure the controller, service, repository, DTOs, validation, and tests. I wanted to help them complete the feature correctly, while also helping them learn the project's coding standards. Action. I first asked them to explain their understanding of the requirement. Then I walked them through an existing API in the codebase. I explained the purpose of each layer. Yes, controller for API request handling, request DTO for input, response DTO for output, service layer for business logic, repository layer for database access, mapper for conversion, exception handler for error responses, unit and integration tests. Instead of writing the code for them, I helped them break the work into small steps. The plan was: click Create Request and Response DTOs, click Add Validation Annotations, click Implement Controller Method, click Implement Service Logic, click Add Repository Query, click Add Error Handling, write unit tests, write integration tests. During code review, I gave feedback with explanations instead of only asking for changes. Result: the junior developer completed the API successfully. They became more comfortable with the project structure. The final code followed team standards and had good test coverage. Why this answer works? This answer is good because it shows mentoring, patience, technical guidance, teaching project standards, helping without taking over, improving team capability. Example 3. Helping a teammate with code review feedback situation. A teammate submitted a pull request for a new backend feature. The feature worked, but the code had some maintainability issues, including duplicate validation logic and direct entity exposure in the API response. Task: my responsibility was to review the code and help the teammate improve it in a constructive way. Action: I reviewed the pull request carefully and focused on helping the teammate understand the reason behind the feedback. I looked at COPS, API contract, DTO usage, validation logic, error handling, authorization, test coverage, naming, maintainability. I noticed that the API returned a database entity directly. I explained that this could make the API contract tightly coupled to the database model. I suggested using a response DTO instead. I also noticed duplicate validation logic and suggested moving common validation into a reusable method or validator component. Instead of leaving too many comments, I scheduled a short discussion and walked through the changes with them. I also shared an existing example from the project that followed the recommended pattern. Result: the teammate updated the pull request successfully. The API became cleaner and easier to maintain. The teammate also started using DTOs and shared validation patterns in future work. Why this answer works? This answer is strong because it shows helpful code review, constructive feedback, maintainability awareness, mentoring, team standards, long-term improvement. Example 4. Helping a teammate learn Kafka situation. In one project, a teammate needed to work on a Kafka consumer for the first time. They were familiar with REST APIs but had limited experience with event-driven processing. Task: I wanted to help them understand Kafka concepts and safely implement the consumer logic. Action: I started by explaining the basic flow in simple terms. I explained: producer publishes event, Kafka topic stores event, consumer reads event, consumer processes business logic, offset tracks progress, retry handles temporary failures, dead letter queue handles invalid messages. Then we reviewed the actual event payload and business requirement. I helped them think through important questions. What happens if the same message is received twice? What happens if the downstream service fails? What happens if the payload is invalid? Should the message be retried or moved to DLQ? We paired on the first version of the consumer. I helped them add catch, event validation, catch idempotency check, retry handling, dead letter queue logic, structured logging, unit tests for success and failure scenarios. Result: the teammate successfully implemented the Kafka consumer. They gained confidence with event-driven development. The consumer handled duplicate messages, invalid messages, and retry scenarios more safely. Why this answer works? This answer is good because it shows check, knowledge sharing, check, Kafka mentoring, check, event-driven thinking, check, reliability design, check, pairing, helping teammate grow. Example 5. Helping a teammate resolve a merge conflict situation. In one sprint, a teammate had a large pull request that conflicted with recent changes from another developer. They were unsure how to resolve the merge conflict safely because the conflict involved business logic and tests. Task: I wanted to help them resolve the conflict correctly without losing either developer's changes. Action: I first asked the teammate to explain what their change was doing. Then we reviewed the conflicting files together. We compared SIR, branch changes, main branch changes, related business rules, affected tests, recent commits, expected behavior after merge. I helped them resolve the conflict step by step instead of blindly accepting one side. For each conflict, we decided whether to keep their logic, keep the main branch logic, or combine both. After resolving the code conflict, we ran unit tests and integration tests. We also manually tested the affected API flow to make sure behavior was still correct. I explained how to approach merge conflicts more safely in the future. Result: the merge conflict was resolved without losing important changes. The pull request was merged successfully. The teammate felt more confident handling future conflicts. Why this answer works? This answer is strong because it shows practical teammate support, careful problem solving, avoiding risky merge decisions, test validation, knowledge sharing, teamwork. Example 6. Helping a teammate improve test coverage situation. A teammate was working on a feature that had complex business rules. They implemented the main functionality, but the test coverage was weak. They were not sure which scenarios were most important to test. Task: I helped them identify important test cases and improve confidence before release. Action: I started by reviewing the business rules with them. Then we grouped the test scenarios into categories: happy path, validation errors, authorization failures, edge cases, duplicate request scenarios, external service failure, database save failure, exception handling. I helped them write unit tests for the service layer and integration tests for the API behavior. I also explained why tests should focus not only on successful cases, but also on failure and edge cases. We added tests for COC, valid request, missing required field, invalid status value, user without permission, duplicate business key, downstream timeout. Result: the feature had stronger test coverage. QA found fewer issues during testing. The teammate learned how to think about test scenarios more systematically. Why this answer works? This answer is good because it shows testing support, coaching, quality improvement, risk reduction, systematic thinking, team learning. Example 7. Helping a teammate with front-end and back-end integration situation. In one full-stack project, a front-end developer was integrating with a back-end API. They were blocked because the API response did not exactly match the UI needs, and there was confusion about validation errors. Task: I helped the teammate align the front-end and back-end contract so the integration could move forward smoothly. Action: I sat with the front-end developer and reviewed the screen requirements. We identified fields needed by the UI, loading behavior, empty state, validation error display, success message, API error response, pagination needs, sorting needs. Then I updated the backend response DTO to include the required fields and remove unnecessary internal fields. I also improved the validation error response so the frontend could show field-level messages. I shared sample JSON responses for check successful response, check validation error, check unauthorized error, check empty result, check server error. We tested the API and UI together after the change. Result: the front-end integration was completed successfully. There were fewer back-and-forth changes. The API contract became clearer and easier to use. Why this answer works? This answer is strong because it shows check front-end back-end collaboration, API contract alignment, helping unblock teammate, validation error design, communication, delivery support. Example 8. Helping a teammate during onboarding situation. A new developer joined our team and had to start working on a large existing codebase. The project had multiple services, database scripts, environment configuration, and deployment steps. Task: I helped the new teammate onboard faster and become productive. Action: I first helped them set up the local development environment. We went through click repository setup, check Java version, check Maven build, check application properties, check database connection, check Docker setup if needed, check API testing tool, check running unit tests, check common troubleshooting steps. Then I gave them a walkthrough of the application structure. I explained check main modules, important APIs, database tables, coding standards, branching strategy, pull request process, deployment flow, team communication channels. I also shared useful documentation and created notes for setup issues that were missing from the existing guide. For their first task, I helped them break it into smaller steps and reviewed their pull request carefully. Result: the new teammate became productive faster. They completed their first task successfully. The onboarding notes also helped future new developers join the team more smoothly. Why this answer works? This answer is good because it shows onboarding support, team mindset, documentation improvement, patience, knowledge sharing, long-term team benefit. Best short answer version. If you need a short interview answer, you can say, in one sprint, a junior developer was assigned to implement a new Spring Boot REST API. They understood the business requirement, but were unsure how to structure the controller, service, repository, DTOs, validation, and tests. I helped them by first asking them to explain their understanding of the requirement. Then I walked them through an existing API in the codebase and explained the purpose of each layer. I helped them break the work into smaller steps, creating request and response DTOs, adding validation, implementing controller and service logic, adding repository access, handling errors, and writing unit and integration tests. I did not write the code for them. Instead, I guided them, reviewed their code, and explained the reason behind my feedback. As a result, they completed the API successfully, became more confident with the project structure, and the final implementation followed team standards with good test coverage. Common mistakes to avoid. 1. Saying only, I helped them. Bad answer. I helped my teammate finish their task. Better answer. Explain what problem they had, what support you gave, and what result improved. 2. Making yourself sound superior. Bad answer. They did not know what they were doing, so I fixed it. Better answer. They were new to that area, so I guided them through the pattern and helped them gain confidence. 3. Taking over their work. Bad answer. I completed the task for them. Better answer. I helped them understand the problem and guided them so they could complete it themselves. 4. No technical detail. Bad answer. I explained the code. Better answer. Mention API design, validation, testing, debugging, Kafka, merge conflicts, or integration work. 5. No team impact. Bad answer. They finished the task. Better answer. They completed the feature, gained confidence, and the documentation helped future teammates. Best practices for answering this question. Use the STAR method. Explain who needed help and why. Show that you listened first. Explain what you did to help. Avoid sounding arrogant. Give technical details. Show patience and communication. Mention knowledge sharing. Mention the teammate's success. End with team impact. What interviewers are looking for. Interviewers want to see whether you can. Check, support teammates. Check, communicate clearly. Check, share knowledge. Check, mentor others. Check, collaborate respectfully. Help without taking over. Check, give constructive feedback. Check, unblock work. Check, improve team productivity. Check, build trust. For senior roles, they also want to see. Check mentoring ability. Check technical leadership. Check onboarding support. Check code review quality. Check team level improvement. Check knowledge sharing mindset. Check emotional intelligence. Strong words to use in your answer. You can use words like supported, guided, mentored, explained, reviewed, paired, unblocked, clarified, encouraged, shared knowledge, coached, collaborated, helped them gain confidence. Example. I supported my teammate by first understanding where they were blocked, then guiding them through the existing pattern, pairing on the complex part, reviewing their code, and helping them gain confidence to complete the task independently. Good teammate help topics you can use. Depending on your experience, you can talk about helping debug a production issue, helping a junior developer build an API, helping with code review feedback, helping a teammate learn Kafka, helping resolve a merge conflict, helping improve test coverage, helping front-end, back-end integration, helping onboard a new developer. Issue, helping with database query issue, helping with deployment issue, helping write documentation, helping understand project architecture, helping prepare for release. Final summary. Tell me about a time you helped a teammate is an important interview question because software development is a team activity. The best answer should include who needed help, why they needed help, your responsibility, how you listened first, how you supported them, what technical help you provided, how you avoided taking over, what the teammate learned, what result the team achieved. Good examples include debugging a production issue, mentoring a junior developer, code review support, Kafka knowledge sharing, merge conflict help, test coverage improvement, front-end, back-end integration, onboarding support. The strongest answers show teamwork, patience, communication, technical support, and positive team impact.